Hello world, welcome to LTS. My name is Steve. Today I'll be discussing the sad violation of Jennings. But before I begin, I ask that if you like this video and channel to please not forget to hit the like and subscribe button. So, all that being said, here we go. Now, before I say anything, I want it to be known that I have nothing against Jazz. He's a victim of his parents and a society that has placed ideologies and political agendas over the well-being of a child.
That's messed up.
If you don't know who Jennings is, he's a YouTube personality, spokesperson, and an LGBTQ rights activist. But the thing that has gotten him so much attention is that he's one of the youngest publicly documented individuals to be identified as transgender.
Is that a good thing?
Essentially, he's an individual who was born a male who now says that he's a female.
I know, I got it. I got the concept.
His parents are Greg and Jeanette Jennings, a couple who have championed for their son's conversion from the very beginning. But that being said, due to Jazz's ever-growing popularity, he's had the opportunity to do a number of prestigious interviews, meet famous people, and even get his own reality TV show called I Am Jazz. And during one of his interviews with Time magazine, he says, "When my mom Jeanette got pregnant with me, she was convinced she was going to have a girl." He then goes on to say that at 2 years old, after a busy morning of playing with dolls, he had what he calls the good fairy dream, where he saw a fairy who made him a promise that he would change him into a girl. The dream supposedly gave Jazz the confidence that his feelings about being a girl were valid.
Where are your parents?
I had always shrugged off the story of Jazz, mainly because it's just a sad story. But recently a clip of Jazz, who's now 22 years old, went viral that caught my attention.
I feel kind of all over the place and like my mind is very cluttered and not clear. And I really want to have that clarity. I really want to understand myself and be able to read my own soul and what I want. And it's just very challenging. And I think I'm kind of breaking down a little bit and spiraling into negativity. I just want to feel like myself. Like, that's it. I don't
Like
care.
the old Jazz?
All I want is to be happy and feel like me.
Now, alone this may not sound like much, but this makes you wonder if now as an adult, if he's finally beginning to question the lie that he's been made to believe about himself since childhood. And this may sound like a harsh statement to make, but if we delve deeper into that Time magazine article that I mentioned earlier, everything that he's talking about is something that has been told to him, especially when he describes what happened after his good fairy dream, where he says, "I ran downstairs and found my mother sitting in our living room. When is the good fairy going to come with her magic wand?" I asked. "The who?" "The good fairy, who will turn my penis into a vagina." My mom tells me now that this was a huge turning point for her. The first time she truly began to realize that what I was going through probably wasn't a phase.
Yeah, I'm sure that happened.
Everything he's saying here is suspect because he was only 2 at the time.
Something about this just doesn't seem right.
Everything that he's saying here and genuinely believes about himself is actually an indoctrination of what other people told him, primarily his mother, a woman who always believed that he was going to be a girl in the first place. And so the sad thing is that this one event is something that he has no way of knowing if it actually happened or not. And even if everything happened the way that Jeanette said that it happened, Jazz's parents then had the responsibility to tell him that it was just a dream. It wasn't fair to Jazz for them to turn around and then make this his entire life, because in doing so, they robbed him of his identity. All this is such a shame because it reminds us of how children are highly susceptible of being manipulated into a way of thinking, which is why God gives children parents to guide them in the way that they need to go, not in the way that they want them to go. I want to show one more clip because it's going to tie into my points.
With her, I'm worried about like her mental well-being and her dilation. The minute she leaves my house, we have a dilation problem. I have woken Jazz out of a dead sleep and taken the dilator and put the lubrication on it and said, here, you take this and you put it in your vagina. If not, I will. But Jazz is bad, even when I'm home once a day. I will be so mad if she goes away to college and that thing seals up. I will wring her neck. Can you imagine?
What's this world coming to?
Again, we're seeing here that the mother is at the forefront of trying to figuratively and literally push womanhood onto her son. And I don't say this to demean her because I'm sure that she loves her son. The problem that we're seeing in both clips is that you're showing a person who has spent most of his life essentially being a guinea pig for political movements, now as an adult not knowing who he is. And I can only imagine the psychological damage that would happen if he came face to face with the reality that he's actually a man.
I'm afraid it'll change everything.
And the reason why this story resonates so much for me is because I have a 5-year-old daughter who's beautiful and smart, but at the end of the day, she's only 5 years old. She doesn't know yet what she really wants in life, or what the lifelong ramifications will be if she goes down the wrong path. I mean, every day I'm reminded of the massive job that God has bestowed to us parents. If we look at Psalms, it says, "For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be." You see, when Jazz's parents began the process of assisting him in his transition, they stole his true God-given identity. So things like living his daily life as a man, having his own biological children, or even being able to orgasm in a marriage, of course, probably won't ever happen. They essentially gave him a lifelong debt for things that he said and did as a child.
It's not right.
And the people who have cheered this on will not be the ones there to pick up the pieces. In fact, if he does decide to be a man, there probably would not be a single press conference covering this because it doesn't fit in with the narrative. And I honestly don't even know if he could go back because they've essentially played Frankenstein on this child's body, which should have been illegal. And not only that, but everyone around him, including his parents, are actually making money off of his mental issues.
How did it come to this?
So in closing, the story of Jazz Jennings reminds us that we all have a God-given call on our lives. And I'm not talking about everyone becoming a pastor. I'm talking about everyone following God's plan and living out how he wants for us to live. If God made us a woman, be a woman, because there's a God-given call on that life. If God made us to be a man, because there is also a God-given call on that life. And some may consider what I'm saying to be hate speech, but that couldn't be further from the truth. You see, when we deny who God has truly created us to be, there is always going to be some level of dysfunction somewhere because it's going against his design. We need to always take pride, not in sin, but in who we were made to be in Christ. And so with all that being said, we come to the end of another video. I release a new video every month, so I'll see you then. But before I go, I ask that if you like this video and channel, to please not forget to hit the like and subscribe button. And until next time, I pray God's blessing on you and that you'll always seek him first.
Where are your parents?